Hey, how's it going? And today I wanted to show you how to set up Vegas Pro so that you can work correctly with Sony Cinegammas and Hypergammas. And this tutorial has been a huge tongue twister for me because Sony used to own Vegas. So a lot of times I'll say Sony when I mean to say Vegas. So I've had to do this tutorial a couple times just because it's been very confusing. This whole thing has been really confusing. Essentially, there's this whole issue when you're shooting of there's computer RGB, which goes from a digital value of 0 to 255, and then you have something called studio RGB that goes from 16 to 235. And for the most of the time, it seems like when you're shooting in Sony, the 8-bit AVC, that's going to be transformed into studio RGB, that is usually meant for broadcast. And so there's plenty of room for confusion. But as of Vegas 18, version 18, Vegas essentially automatically converts your footage either to computer RGB or to studio RGB for you. So all you really have to do is set your pixel format correctly and then disable studio RGB on the video scope. And that's all you need to do to work with the Cinegammas and the Hypergammas correctly. And I'm going to show you this right now. So what I have is I've got one clip that was shot with Cine 1, and it has a clipping point of 109 IRE. And if I didn't know better and I pulled this up on a video scope, I would expect to see that this footage clipping out at 109. But when it's set up correctly, because Vegas automatically converts it, it'll show that it peaks out at 100. So it's confusing, right? This clip here, it already peaks out at 100 IRE, so there's no mystery with this one. The only mystery was with this one if you don't have your settings correctly. So this is how you'll do it. You import your clips, and then what you do is you come up here to your project settings, and you set the pixel format to 8-bit full range. Don't worry about it if it's not full range. Vegas is going to put it into Studio RGB for you. It will analyze it and determine if that's what needs to be done. And for most of the Sony codecs, that is what needs to be done. So that's what's going to happen with this footage. It's going to automatically convert it to Studio RGB. So the only issue is if you were to pull up your video scope, if you go here to View and you go to Windows, and you go to video scopes, and I look at the waveform monitor, you'll notice that it does appear that this Cine 1 is reaching up to 109 IRE. But this is misleading because Sony behind the scenes has automatically converted it. The reason why it's showing this way is because this setting is incorrect. So we need to disable Studio RGB. So if I disable it, you'll see that we see what's really happening. Vegas has auto converted or transformed or leveled our footage to Studio RGB for us. So there's no need for this setting. And so if I had just looked at that video scope before with this setting enabled, I might have thought, oh, I need to bring this down. But no, I don't need to bring it down. The video scope is incorrect. So with that off, you can see it's all ready to go. As long as the pixel format is set correctly, Vegas auto transforms it for us. So there's nothing for us to do. We just need to make sure that we turn this setting off, the Studio RGB, because Vegas has already done it for us. And with this one, if we look at the waveform, it's already at 100 IRE, so there's nothing to do here. So what's great about this essentially is that if you have your pixel format set correctly, and you turn off the Studio RGB on the video scope, the Hypergammas and all those that go up to 109 IRE are automatically corrected for you. There's nothing more for you to do unless you want to go in and do some additional color correcting or grading. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you found it helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.